Hi guys. In this video, I will show you how to capture strawberry splash in milk. The method I used is the high-speed photography technique, pioneered by Dr. Harold Edgerton. High-speed photography is the method of capturing high-speed events with the use of a flash or strobe, and shooting is usually done in a dark room. These are some of my captured images as I was shooting videos for this tutorial. I will be explaining my DIY smartTRIGGER which I use to take such photograph. You will need the following in order to do it. This is my DIY high-speed photography smartTRIGGER. This is based on Arduino, and I used one Mega 2560 and one Nano for this trigger. This is an Arduino-based sound sensor, and we will be using it in this tutorial. The sound sensor connector is connected to the smartTRIGGER on the TRS jack. We will also need an external flash which we will set in manual mode, and low power setting. In high-speed photography, the lower the flash power setting, the better in freezing those high-speed splashes. Let me show you how this trigger works. Let us power it on. I am now going to connect the sound sensor to the photo gate jack. The sound sensor is now turned on, as you can see with a red LED lamp. Next, I will connect the external flash to out one. We need to select the photo gate from the touch screen to activate the sound sensor. I will try clapping to see if the sound sensor is working. We must see a blinking green LED. If I change the mode to run mode, the kit will now trigger the external flash. I manually triggered the flash. You can see the external flash flashing out. I will experiment putting some delay of 1 second. The flash must trigger 1 second after the clap. I will now remove the delay. The flash must trigger at the same time as the clap.
It will flash. Okay.
The trigger can also be set to trigger the flash several times at defined interval in milliseconds. I will try 3 consecutive flashes at 500 milliseconds interval. I will now clap my hand to trigger the sound sensor. Can you see the 3 flashes at 500 milliseconds interval? Let us try one more time and observe the 3 flashes. I will use this trigger to capture the high-speed event of strawberry falling in the milk, and capture those splashes. I am going to show you how do I shoot in high-speed photography. This is a simple setup for this type of photography. First, we need to set up the flash trigger. I already set the trigger delay to 7 millisecond. This is the sound sensor and I placed the microphone as close as possible to the subject to be able to detect the sound. We also have here the yellow cup with milk and the strawberry. The camera must be set to bulb mode. And we need to use a shutter release cable. This is the flash gun connected to the trigger. So let us now shoot one cycle. First, turn off the lights. Second, turn on the shutter of the camera using the shutter release cable. Third, drop the subject to the milk. Fourth, turn off the shutter release cable. After this, the DSLR will process the image and you can see the preview. Last, turn on the lights in the room. That is the one cycle of high-speed photography. You can now proceed to review again the previously captured image if you like. This is the setup for the first batch using a light green saucer. The camera must be put in manual focus. The image composition must capture the saucer, strawberry and milk splash in focus. Here is my DSLR camera settings, as well as the smartTRIGGER settings. Let me run you to my setup. This is the usual method of taking high-speed photographs. You will need a shutter release cable to control the shutter opening of the camera, as well as flash triggers with time delay functions. I will now put a thin layer of milk on the saucer. No need to fill up the saucer. Just enough milk to create the splash. I will now prepare the strawberry to be dropped. Once I drop the strawberry, the sound sensor will pick up the noise and will trigger the flash after some delay. This event will be captured by the camera. I will now turn off the lights since this must be done in a dark room. I am using a faint light source coming from the other room so that you can see what is going on. I will now make the first drop of the strawberry. This is my first capture. Not bad. Let us try again. This is take number 2. This is my second take. Well, the strawberry fell off centered. It is important to clean the table of stray milk to maintain a clean shot each time. I took about 25 shots for the next 20 minutes. I will just select the best shot later. Here are the shots taken. Well, not bad. I am happy with the result here. Some strawberries fell off centered. But that is why we took many pictures. This strawberry seems to hit the edge of the saucer. Failure is also good, we learned something from it. I also tried dropping 3 pieces at the same time, but it is an epic failure. The flash went off too early. Probably one of them hit the edge first, making some sound, which resulted to too early flash fire. I also changed the camera angle and took some shots from top. This picture had only one flash gun firing. Sometimes equipment malfunction happens. Well, so far so good. Let us proceed to next shots. I changed my setup to a red bowl. I also have to elevate my flash guns in order to light the inside of the bowl. This is now the setup. I put one flash gun at the back. Sorry, I do not have enough tripod, so I used a brick as DIY holder of the ball head for the flash gun. The brick is as heavy as half kilogram, and it holds my flash well. Let us now darken the room by turning off the lights. I will now make the first drop using the red bowl setup. I froze for 10 frames the moment the flash went off for you to see visually the timing of the flash gun firing. Again, it is very important to clean up stray milk to get clean shots for each drop. I also wiped the inside of the bowl. This will reduce post-processing time later. Need also to wipe the tabletop using paper tissue or a cloth. I repeated this process for several times and took about 6 pictures. These are the pictures I took for this setup. This was the first picture. The splash looks great. This is the post-processed version of that photo. I already cleaned up some unnecessary milk splashing the wall of the bowl in Photoshop. Here are the other photos. Some strawberries fell off centered as expected. That is normal in this manual drop setup unless you developed a fruit dropping device to ensure the fruit will always fall in one place. I only took few photos since I saw the first picture was already okay. Let us proceed to the next setup. Next, I will change my setup using a yellow cup. The yellow color also contrasts well with milk. The setup is pretty much the same as the previous. I also took several pictures using this. but I have to change my setup halfway. The front of the cup is not much lighted by the flash gun. So I have to move the slave flash in this position to lighten up this portion. Let us continue taking pictures. These are the pictures taken using this yellow cup setup. This is a post-processed version of that photo where I darken some portion to highlight the splash. I failed to remove some tissues in the table in this picture. Similar to previous setup, there are several failed drop also here. The strawberry hit the side of the cup resulting to premature flash fire. But overall I got some good images also in this setup. I already finished the setup for the glass splash as shown here. But can you hear the barking dogs? The noise is triggering my flash. My daughter is also playing her piano. I cannot use sound sensor in this noisy situation. So I will change my sensor from sound to laser sensor. This is the laser sensor setup. I have to elevate everything because my laser sensors are elevated too, having been mounted on 2 tripods. I used styrofoams and empty bins as pedestal to the glass and the flash guns. This is the laser sensor. You can see the red dot in my hand. When the falling strawberry cuts this laser path, it will send a signal to the trigger, and my smart trigger will in turn trigger the flash after some delay. This type of setup is convenient when you are in a noisy environment, and you cannot use a sound sensor. The method of shooting is basically same as the previous sound sensor setup. But here, since we are using a laser sensor, the flash will be triggered once my hands obstruct the laser path as shown here. But since I have not yet turned on the DSLR, this will not be recorded. I will now make the first drop using this setup. Can you see the milk splash on the black cardboard background? This photography is really messy, but you need to be patient in exchange for those great shots. I also have to optimize first the delay time, since this is different from the previous sound sensor where 7 millisecond is good. Based from my trial and error, the best delay is at 85 milliseconds. I also have to change my composition halfway. First, I was shooting with the whole glass within the composition. But I have to resort to focusing only the upper portion of the glass to see more of the splash. I took about 30 pictures for this setup. Similar to previous, you need to clean up the background for splash milk, and wipe the glass from stray milk. This is to obtain a clean shot and will reduce post-processing time. These are the pictures I took in this setup. The first and second pictures were used in the manual focusing and adjustment of the flash power, as well as the ISO setting of the DSLR camera. These were the trial and error while I was optimizing the delay time in millisecond. This first picture was taken with a delay of 100 milliseconds. Obviously, the flash fire is already late as the splash is already finished. I tried using 50 millisecond delay, but it is too early as seen in this strawberry captured, before hitting the milk. For this picture, I used 70 millisecond, and the splash was captured, but I can tell it is still a little bit earlier than expected. I increased the delay to 85 millisecond here, and it seems this is a good delay. So I will be using 85 millisecond from now on. These are the other pictures taken in this set. Overall, I got also some good shots in this set. This is the setup using a white plastic rice spoon. I will also use the laser sensor because the sound of a strawberry hitting the milk on this spoon is not much loud. Sound sensor sometimes cannot pick up the sound. The laser is best for this situation. The laser is invisible, but for illustration purpose, the laser path is as shown in this red line. When I drop the strawberry, I have to make sure that the strawberry will cut this laser path in order to be detected by the trigger. I fixed the rice spoon on the holder of a small tripod using hot glue and paper tape. I also put some improvised paper hood on the two flash guns, in order for its light not to scatter on the background. I want my backgrounds to be pitch black. Let us now shoot some splash. The delay I used here is similar to the previous glass setup. I used a delay of 85 milliseconds. The method is similar to previous shots, so I will not elaborate here. I took about 50 pictures in this setup. These are the pictures taken. Some pictures without the milk splash were used during the adjustment of focus and flash gun power. Overall, I also got several shots from here which I can use. Remember that we have to shoot as many pictures as we can, and just select the best photo among them. That's all guys, and I do hope you learned something from this tutorial. Please give me like, leave a comment and subscribe to my channel if you find this helpful. Bye bye.